Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. In this video, we are reviewing the books that came out for DC Comics the week of April 9th, 2014. Really short week for DC, but there are some really good books, and then there's some really low-tier books.
Yeah.
So let's waste no time and get right into it. By the way, guys, thank you again for all your wonderful and awesome feedback on the new schedule. We're hoping to add more stuff as time moves forward. As soon as we get used to the new schedule, we want to see how the weekly... I know I'm saying this again. If you watched the Marvel review, I'm sorry. This is for people who only watched the DC review that didn't see the beginning of the Marvel one. So there will be a little bit of repeats now and again on the beginning. So just a little bit of a warning there. I forgot to mention that last week when we started this. So anyway, once we get used to the monthly series and the podcast has a regularly scheduled upload as well, we'll start adding more stuff to this channel, the stuff that I had discussed, and maybe even more stuff as time moves forward. So, DC this week. Batgirl issue 30, my lowest book of the week from DC and Marvel. I was just not interested in this. This is the second story arc now where Batgirl's involved with magic or dark magic, and it was a standalone story. It's not by Gail Simone. The artwork is really good, though. I will say that. It's all about Barbara mourning the loss of Dick. So we still don't know if Dick really dies or if it's, Dick goes into, Batman sends Dick away and everybody believes he's dead. I don't know. We'll find out whenever DC decides to release their Forever Evil #7. Thank you very much, DC, for the lateness in your books. So basically, Batgirl is fighting the Midnight Man. These kids perform this little ritual to bring him in. It's a teenage thing and it never works, but somehow it does. And Batgirl, for some reason, she's carrying an EMF meter around, and she's like, oh, there's something wrong, the EMF spikes, it's in this house, and ghosts, and I used to watch scary stories, and Dick used to laugh with me, and he used to watch them with me thinking I was crazy for watching them. So she goes into this house where all the teens are sleeping, and then it turns out the Midnight Man somehow found his way, into reality. Well, everybody should know with Justice League Dark that magic isn't exactly fake, so to speak.
Well, I should know because I read it.
But anyway, in the end, it's Batgirl versus the Midnight Man. She beats him. There's a whole bunch. It's not even about the story as much as it's about the internal dialogue, which is her being Batgirl, the Robins, and their legacy, and getting, and mourning for Dick, but at the same time, being happy, about being who she is, and saying, what was it? I want to see. And missing Dick. She basically is missing Dick. And, yeah, that's basically the long and short of this, is just getting used to Dick not being around and just being Batgirl. All in all, though, for an issue, a standalone story, again with the dark magic, I had enough with iVampire. The good news is, though, I'm not dropping the book because Ragdoll is going to be in the next story arc, and the next story arc is written by Gail Simone again. It looks very promising, and I'm looking forward to it. So, for one more issue of I'll live with it. Especially because the iVampire one was kind of a little bit out there. This was a little, if I had to rate it, I would say the iVampire one was a little lower on the tier because it was all about vampires. This one was actually more mystical and magical, but whatever. All in all, though, not exactly my favorite book of the week. My lowest pick for DC. Followed by Green Lantern Corps issue 30. You want to know the history of the Durlands? Guess what? You're going to get a history lesson in this book about the Durlands and why they hate the Green Lantern Corps and the Guardians. It's all the Guardians' fault that they exiled them, the evil Durlands, on Durla, and because they exiled all the evil Durlands to Durla and closed off Durla, it caused a huge civil war. Everybody died, and then a new race of Durlands came to be and brought back the Elders, and now the Elders want revenge on the Green Lantern Corps, and yeah, so now they're going to wreak their revenge. And the war still hasn't started. I love how the Durlands say the war hasn't even started yet. Hilarious. The war hasn't started. We're just seeing a bunch of bullshit right now then. So I'm really getting tired of the bullshit. I want to see I want to see the war start so we can get over it already. Because even Jon Stewart knows. He's like, we'll get into this, and like always, our willpower will be strong, and we'll come and we'll rise above everything. So again, I just would like to get through the Durlands already. This way we can get into the next phase for the Green Lantern Corps. And by the way, next week Sinestro #1 comes out. So the whole shtick with the Green Lantern Corps having the Sinestro Corps, come back in this book, it doesn't matter anymore. Sinestro's gonna have his own book starting next week. There's no connection anymore. So guys, let's step up Green Lantern. Green Lantern was so good for so long, and now this story feels like it's dragging. We're still in the Durland story. Literally, Jeff Johns left months ago, and we're still just setting up for the Civil War, for the war against Green Lantern and the Durlands. You mean we haven't even started yet? I mean, come on, guys. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's move Green Lantern forward, because we're in the same story now for a while. Is this going to be a 12-issue story arc like Batman Zero Year? Because that's getting old. That's gotten old. That is old. Don't kill the Green Lantern books right now. I know Kat said she's dropping all the Green Lantern books for a while until the next story. If this continues to move forward and get staler and staler, I'm just going to drop the Green Lantern books myself and wait till after the stories are... there's a new story arc where the Durlands are gone, finally.
Constantine issue number 13.
I feel bad. This is the third book in a row now.
Can anybody in the comments tell me who's reading this? Anybody? Because I really found this book to be just... I mean, it's really just John Constantine talking to Victor Monoros. He's like a spellbinder and something like that. And he just takes John Constantine on a whole thing about... where Nick Necro talks to him about how the Spellbinder works. And things are just, also here. You get some artwork, which is mostly, I don't know, it's like half and half, really. And it's just Zargon talking to him about the cold flame, about, changing his mind of this and that. He wakes up from a nightmare, and there's another thing about the Spellbinder about... different tricks and stuff. Then there's a Zatanna moment where it's just all over the place. It's going from one place to another, and it's just like, why is he doing this? Just because Zatanna did something to him in Justice League Dark, and there's this thing where his face goes round and round a whirlpool or something, because his mind is obviously going crazy, or I don't know. There's just one part of the book that was really interesting where Tanarak is talking with Papa Midnight, of saying to him, so Papa Midnight, do you surrender to us or die? And he responds that it's neither of them, and he wants to make a deal. Because he's like saying, John Constantine, I don't trust him, and nobody trusts him, not even Swamp Thing trusts him. So he said to them, I'll make a deal. The Cold will stay out of Manhattan and leave its territories to them, all the magic and everything, and they can't interfere. And in exchange, he will give them total domination over the greatest foe before John Constantine destroys them and everything. And then they say, oh, you're wrong, we could take him and all that stuff. So that gets a little bit of a haywire. And it just keeps going back to just the whole mind thing, and this splash page right here where I can't even describe what it's really about on that page. And basically it just turns out in the end John Constantine won and outsmarted against the Spellbinder. And now, with everything he's learned from what he showed him, now he's strong enough to know what's going on and everything. No. This book was just... The way you saw the images in this book, that's what my mind felt inside of my head. And it takes a lot to make my mind go all over the place. So, with that story arc, with the Pub Midnight Tanric, that's why I give it to 2.5 to 3 out of 5, because if it wasn't for that, I probably would have gave it lower. Next book, if it's like this, I'm dropping it, because it's just getting to that downward slope where it's not supposed to go.
So, now that we got the bad books out of the way, let's talk about some good books. There's only 2 left. Superman Wonder Woman issue 7. We know they survived because on the first page when you turn it, it goes to London now. And guess what? They're fine. However, turn the page again, and you go to the South Pacific. Then, and Superman is really, really severely and literally almost destroyed, like Flashpoint version Superman. I mean, his lips are practically gone. Seriously, his lips are gone.
Oh my God, he's like a zombie.
And Wonder Woman was protected by his cape mostly. And then remember in the last issue of Superman Action Comics where he was fighting the tower, and he mentioned in the tower that these ghost soldiers showed up in the South Pacific where him and Wonder Woman are?
And they're back.
Here's the connection. No, this is the connection. Apparently this happened first.
Before?
And then Action Comics happened.
Oh, that explains about the ghost thing that we saw in Phantom Stranger also.
So, Superman is filled with radiation and the sun isn't helping him, so he brings Wonder Woman to Hisia, who heals her. He goes to the fortress to heal himself. Now, what's left open is, he even says it right here, what happened? Zod and Feora must have later, because he's too weak. But it's said in the very beginning, they destroyed the Phantom Zone portal. However, after this scene, it's left up in the air. Zod and Feora are basically still probably on Earth. They didn't get trapped back in the Phantom Zone. So this leaves the Zod and Feora story open. Basically, it's done now. That's it. You thinking more Zod and Feora? Nope. Superman and Wonder Woman are healing, and guess what we get more of? Doomsday. That's right, because you saw on the front, you saw on the cover, prelude to Superman Doomed. No more Zod and Feora. That story arc's over, even though this is continuing right after it. We are focusing now on Superman and Wonder Woman healing and Doomsday. So Doomsday is 20 leagues under the sea, so to speak. Superman and Wonder Woman heal. They have a moment where they have a very, very, what's the word I'm looking for without using the word passionate?
Good times?
No. A very bonding moment as boyfriend and girlfriend. And then, Clark's like, you know what? The world's quiet right now. The world is breathing. And she's like, for me, I think the world is just holding its breath. And eventually it's going to exhale. And he's like, yeah, you might be right. But for right now, and the memories we're making here, we've got that And if we've got that, we have that memory in those happy times, how bad can things really get? And we get the classic Doomsday Fist coming out of the ocean. To be continued next month, or actually it says to be continued in Superman 30. Superman Doom will be going through Superman, Wonder Woman, and Action Comics.
So it's going to be like what they did with Forever You Will Blight, going into different titles.
Yeah, but it's all the Superman titles.
So it's all there, yeah.
It's all the Superman titles, so it's fair. This was a good story, and it leaves things open, meaning Zod and Feora. I mean, in the very beginning, we believed that they were trapped back in the Phantom Zone. Then we get to the part where Clark shows up at the fortress. There's a huge hole in the wall, and he's like, Zod, Feora, I'll have to deal with it later. So, Zod and Feora, maybe we'll be seeing round 2 of Zod and Feora starting with after Superman, Wonder Woman, Doomed. Or they might actually even make an appearance in Superman, Wonder Woman, Doomed. Because it's going through May and June. Because I know in June we still have Superman Doomed. The big conclusion's at the end of June. So maybe in July we'll see Zod and Feora again for Superman Wonder Woman.
Never teamed up, right?
No.
Oh. They might.
So it's left open, which I like, meaning Zod and Feora weren't defeated in 7 issues. We might have more of a story coming in the future, which is great. I hope that it was a really good first 7 issues. Still hesitant with Doom, but all in all, this was a very good setup, or a very good prelude to Doom, and a very good way to leave the first story arc open for revisiting later, or at least Zod and Feora open, and it 99.9% will be revisited later, and they weren't easily beaten, which is what I was worried they were doing when I started reading this book, and it's become apparent that they weren't easily defeated. There's still more, and I hope Superman and Apollo at some point have it out also. This book has not only earned Book of the Week from DC, but Book of the Week in general. This was my favorite book from this week from Marvel and DC. and that is Batman Eternal, issue number 1. Holy crap, guys. I know this is a weekly series. I know there's 51 other issues more to go before we finish. But man, oh man, did this book set up so beautifully. It's not even funny. I'm not even going to tell you guys about the first page, but the first page is a then. It even labels it the end. So this is going to be obviously closer to the 50, 51, or 49, maybe even 48, because obviously they're going to have to move forward from this. So this is way down the road. We're talking about almost a year later from now. But then we go into the now, where a new recruit is coming in to take over Jim Gordon's spot. What's his name? Jason Bard is coming in. He's Inspector Gordon is the one that actually picked him to take his spot as lieutenant. It turns out Inspector Gordon and Batman are fighting against Professor Pig and his minions. It's a huge fight. Artwork, oh my god, is beautiful. I'm trying to find a page that doesn't spoil too much. However, Batman goes after Professor Pig. I hate Forbes. I hate him so bad. Forbes. He's a jerk. I hope by the end of Batman Eternal, either he gets killed, he gets destroyed, or he gets sent to jail. I don't know. But anyway, something happens with Inspector Gordon and the person he's chasing, and one thing leads into another, Read this book. I am highly, highly recommending this book, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away, at least until the live show this Tuesday. But you guys saw this page. This was the page that's in the back of every single preview in the 52 News. Huge train crash happens, and guess whose fault it is? Jim Gordon's. How? Like I said, you got to read the book. And the end of the book actually ends with Jim Gordon being arrested. Wow. And apparently, this was the beginning of the end, from what we see, because we go back to the then, or the end, so to speak, for one panel. And he said, I had this, or what was the exact quote? Can't you see it now? Can't you see the grand design? So basically, this was planned from that moment. So the plan was set into motion, or the grand design was set into motion at this very instance where Jim Gordon got arrested and brought to jail. Wow. Guys, buy this book. You will not regret it. I'm not going to vouch for the other 2 weekly series yet, but this weekly series, I will be reading from beginning to issue number 52. The other 2 weekly series have a lot to prove to get above Batman Eternal. In the placing right now, Batman Eternal gets first place. Future's End and whatever this third series is that we're getting in the fall have a lot to prove before they can beat Batman Eternal as far as the best weekly series. Future's End, the way I'm reading the description, it doesn't look like it's going to make it past issue 5 for me. Batman Eternal hooked me. Hook, line, and sinker. I cannot wait till I can read issue 2 next week. This is going to be one of those stories I look forward to reading each and every week for the next year. Will it remain as my top pick for each and every week? Obviously not. There will be issues that I'm sure will go down to 3rd place, 2nd place, whatever. But I have a feeling that this is going to be a strong story. Will it last to 52 issues? Will it remain strong? That only the future can tell. But for right now, this is setting up to be a spectacular ongoing series. A weekly series, so to speak.
Yep.
And that's that. So that's it for DC, guys. A really short week. Literally only 5 books. And as far as the books that I'm on my lower tier, once again, I just want to give justification so you guys don't think that this was 90% trashing. Batgirl, I'm looking forward to the next issue, and I have high hopes that things will definitely improve, especially because Gale will be back on the book, and it won't involve iVampire. Green Lantern Corps, I have no idea how to fix this series until we get through this Durland story arc, which I pray we don't have to go through the entire let's try this again. I pray we don't have to go through the entire summer with this Durland story arc. I pray that we finish this Durland thing by July, the latest, and August we get into the next story, but the way this is setting up, I don't think so. So, I don't know, maybe I'll end up dropping Green Lantern for a little while until we get into the next story arc, because I can't with the Durland. It's boring. It's getting to the point where it's like, end it already. Just like Zero Year with Batman. We want it to end already. It's too long.
Yeah.
But that's a tale for next week when Batman issue 30 comes out. For right now, guys, my top pick has to go to Batman Eternal. Spectacular book. Please check out issue 1. It's only $2.99 and it's going to remain $2.99 throughout all 52 issues, I pray. Let's hope that the last issue doesn't get like a $5 price tag because it has to be ended in this super gigantic spectacular. But then again, $5 isn't bad. If it goes to $10, then I'll start running my mouth. Like with Deadpool this week.
Oh.
But that's it, guys. Thank you for sticking around. Once again, don't forget to check out Comic Related and ComicFrontline.com. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave comments below. Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, recommendations, questions, and your comments will all be answered or replied to on this Friday's weekly comic book haul. So if you write a comment, check that video out, and I will be answering you guys, even if it's a statement. I will be answering your statement with a reply. So thank you guys so much again. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review. Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.